I believe that too. You've got a great model there. And what is also just a really great idea in terms of where that model can be deployed, given certain industry circumstances with COVID. We did talk about the restaurant industry, and it was really a great line of thinking there in terms of potential ways to save some of those who are, being hardest hit by COVID and kind of on their way out.
Well, here's kind of my philosophy, okay? Not a philosophy, but my kind of view of things as I see it. Right now, sit-down restaurants are having the struggle of their lifetime. I have some experience in that portion of the industry, and I know what goes into laying out dinner each night. Tableside waiters, waitresses, things of that nature. So right now, in coming back from COVID, they're probably counting on their takeout food or whatever. So if your restaurant has an extraordinary menu and you have extraordinary food, perhaps raising prices, tacking on delivery fees, you probably be able to survive this, okay? But if you're producing high quality, low price food for budget people, for lunches and things like that, in the style of cafes or bars, lounges, things of that nature, the food portion probably has become a burden rather than a profit center. So by the fact that smoking cannabis and serving food is probably not going to set well together in most areas. Indeed, most food codes are probably going to prohibit smoking in food service areas. So if you can't serve food, then you can't. If you want to serve food, you can't let someone smoke cannabis. But if your food is failing, dump the food and let them smoke cannabis. And now I can show you a path that the burden of food can be passed off in other directions, okay? And leave that to other folks that are more in a better position to survive this kind of takeout kind of environment for the food industry right now.
That we're in now, yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm about to bring a food truck to the premises. I'm prohibited from selling food here. Now I can have a vendor in, they can sell their food. I can sell prepackaged food, but I cannot cook, prepare, and sell a menu because we smoke cannabis. But I can allow a food truck on my property to sell food to my members. Okay. And that won't affect my profit center, because the food is not the big profit center at these clubs. They're not coming for food. They're coming to smoke cannabis. Okay. They'll buy some food when they get hot. Sometimes it's a candy bar, sometimes it's a meal. But the fact of the matter is, if you're serving food, you need to be open to all the public to compete with other food people. Okay, if you're only open to the pot smoking public that are members of the club, it's not conducive to sell food every day. You're going to fail.
Right.
You can't sell enough food to sustain your business. So the dilemma becomes, how do you let people smoke pot if you can't sustain the business? It comes back to the private club and membership. It's up to membership and up to cannabis businesses who feel a responsibility or a desire or want to join us to defend these rights. They can help through some creative ways we have of getting involved. So they can support it, members support it by simply coming back. That's simple. And then you don't have to rely on selling product, selling food, and members can have food if they like and desire. So, it's hard. The very essence of these clubs is that they're not designed to make a great deal of money. They're designed to service the member, and the members patronize the club so it can continue to give it its service. Creating standard jobs that pay well, that are stable, with career people that are dedicated to working in these places is what the goal is. That is it. So when a club owner comes into play, instead of looking at getting rich, he can establish a great salary, a great lifestyle, a sense of achievement, giving back to the community, and providing this idea forward, and still have a high quality life and have stable employees, with stable jobs that are quite honestly more stable than a typical restaurant jobs, because it's not based on how much food you sell. It's based on the members supporting and having enough people that support the idea and believe in the idea to pay it forward and make it work. So that is the philosophy. It's a secret. It's not really a secret, but it's kind of the key to things.
So members would not only support by continuing to come by and patronize, they would also be in the position to oversee, run, and make decisions and plan events, all to do with the location, with the
Yeah, all these clubs will become charter membership organizations, and there's no requirement. If we help a club open, there's no requirement to join the United Cannabis Clubs of America. But United Cannabis Clubs of America will be a nonprofit organization in the likes of NCAA football, Little League baseball, things of that nature. It's an organization that'll give a structure that you could join and defend what you do against local bureaucrats who would want to infringe on your right to do what you want to do. And members can have low cost access to their absolute right that is handed to them by our Constitution. It's our constitutional right and our Second Amendment right to defend ourselves and to provide for ourselves. The government they have no need to tell us our lifestyle. That's not their business.
oh, not at all.
Yeah. And we don't have to be militant about it. There's an absolute structure in place. The legal structure can be put in place to protect everyone. What we need is the dedication of the cannabis industry and the cannabis world to support this idea. Okay, that means, I'll just say it straightforward. They have to put money to it. Cannabis companies have to invest money in the idea. We have a creative advertising membership package that gives them access to social media, banner space in the club, and rental space for events and parties, office events, whatever they'd like to do. These are not donations where we just ask for money. They actually get something in return. So they need to look at those and make them a priority. Perhaps I know burgeoning companies have money issues, and everyone has money issues these days. So you have to prioritize what's important. Okay, so we employ them to look at us. We're an important part of what's going on. We shouldn't be at the bottom of this. We should be in the top consideration. You know,
Sure.
obviously, take care of your employees, provide, safe, healthy environments, take care of your families. We understand that, okay? But above and beyond that, okay, consider things, throwing in support. Say for members, we know it's tough out there. We want to keep costs down as much as we can. We recently changed our door fee to $10. I'm committed to take the fee back down to $5 as soon as I can sustain some sort of level of return client that can help. Right now, our 100 days of protests and riots in Portland haven't exactly attracted new visitors. Okay, so the portion of tourism that I normally get this time of year is virtually invisible. So it's really back to membership now, and that's part of our fundraising for the month. It's called Bridge to the Future. You know, it's a short bridge. Okay, the future's out there. We can't lose the future because of a short span that's suspended in some weird, universe right now that we all seem to be in with this pandemic.
Yeah.
And indeed, our problem is almost entirely caused by pandemic. We shut down March the 12th. I had no real uh, income at all since that time.
Wow, that's a good
So
long while. Yeah.
it's a long time. And the oddest thing is that
Whew,
time
coming
is
up on 6 months.
6 months. That time is not just half a year for us. That represents 3/4 of all of our earning power for the year. So we didn't lose a half a year. We lost 3/4 of a year of income and revenue. And we don't have stockpiled products that we could put on sale. That time and space is lost now. So all we could do is move forward. But we need to recover to move forward and do things. Uh, I sworn an oath of poverty about 10 years ago. I gave up money making. I didn't think I'd ever make money again. When the markets were going well, uh, I had 28 employees on payroll. So I made lots of jobs available, and a lot of the proceeds of the market went to our employees and things. So, and now I find myself, 5 years into the club. I'm pretty much drained of reserves. I don't qualify for PPP funds. Okay, half my employees are subcontractors. Okay, because there's still implications on resumes and future job work, job searches if you've been involved with an endeavor like mine. Okay. I
Sure.
understood 11 years ago when
Yeah.
I stepped away from my other life and I became an activist that I was probably sealing my future job uh, opportunities to doom. Okay. That was my choice. I really did that a long time ago. And now I find, the club at a time where it's in need of financial help, faced with the fact that I may have no income very soon, and I'm 65 with 11 years of cannabis activist history. I don't know what kind of job prospects I have in the future. So this idea is going to live on because I haven't finished my work yet. That's really the summation of what I'm trying to say. I haven't finished yet. It's not coming to an end because it's not time. Okay? As a matter of fact, our time has just arrived. So that is how it is. That's not even my opinion. Our time has come. It will propel us forward. Our members, our supporters, and anyone who's listening that would love to help us with our cause, please help us. We're going to catapult forward, and I hope that one day that we bring clubs to lots of areas of the country and support for new owners and club owners and members that are out there still fighting, because we still are pioneering this thing. You know, I don't know many other clubs around the country. I've heard from a few spots that are interested, and I'll be talking with them over the near future. Once we've raised the funds that we need here in Portland, we'll get it back on its feet where it needs to be, and that'll free me more time to spend with other areas of the country developing, their product lines and their ideas and their future clubs. So, pardon me, bro.
Yes, of course. No. And do you have water there?
No. Well, I'll have one here in a second. I'm okay.
Okay.
I've been a little long-winded. I'm sorry to do that.
No, not at all. Please, we're here to listen and to get your message out. So that's perfectly fine. And just so people understand that, when we're talking about throwing some first aid on, on the restaurant industry, and creating, chapters of this club as a private entity. The idea is that should not be limited to states that are currently, what we'll say legal, whether that's recreational or medical. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that obviously I think that the logical way would be prioritize the states that will find easier to work with and help introduce things. Okay, so I would prioritize our states and make the top ones obviously the last one. All along as we gain steam, obviously 100 stores has more, or 100 clubs have more voice than a single club. Okay, maybe it shouldn't be that way in defending ideals, but that's kind of how it works in reality. So I have a target prioritized way. Right now, there are enough states that fit into the top 10, 20 area that I could use. I could take inquiries from almost any state that currently has medical marijuana or a legal marijuana situation in play. Now, some of those states already have some carryover smoking laws from the past. Okay, if they have existing smoking provisions for clubs and bars and things like that, those could be used in our advantage as well. Okay, obviously the easiest fight is the fight of least resistance. So you start with the battles that are easier won, and won by talking and discussing things rather than full-fledged coming to blows, so to speak. Okay, so yeah, one at a time. You start by establishing areas. One of the thoughts that I had in mind as you become expansive about this idea of protecting consumption and cannabis culture. So if we look at, say it was more than just about smoking clubs. What if we truly wanted to create this idea of preserving cannabis culture? Then I would target areas like, right now, a lot of businesses are in trouble. So you see a lot of mid-range to older strip mall areas that are vacant or nearly vacant. We could create cannabis communities there where we could house glass blowers, glass shops, all kind, safe access to ATMs. How about that? Almost every cannabis retailer requires cash, right?
That's right.
Where's a safe way to get cash? You ever been to you're in a hurry, you want to grab something at a dispensary, but they're out of cash in the ATM? You can't use your card there. Okay. How about food? How about if you had a plaza where at the end you had a smoking area? You didn't have to have food because there's a cannabis friendly food company right in the plaza. Okay. So now that portion can be rented at a smaller rate to someone who's providing consumption, okay? And then we have all these businesses that can protect the consumption, can protect the cannabis business itself. Here in Portland, a lot of cannabis stores have been getting robbed during some of the riots and the unrest that's been around. So they target cannabis stores. Why? Because they're full of pot, of course. Duh. And they also have cash. That's another thing, you know. So here, the idea that you could create a plaza where, you know, it could be cannabis centrist, you know. And there are other industries that fit alongside that, you know. Everything from, I don't know, porno shops to payday lenders. Who knows? You know, there are all kinds of weird blends. There's nothing to say they can't mix
No,
together.
literally can blend with almost anything. Yeah.
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 And I see lots of plazas that way. I'm pretty good at negotiating leases. I'm pretty good at negotiating business space. You know, I could be very helpful to people who had ideas like that. Or maybe someone as an owner, okay? Maybe they're not even in the cannabis business, but they own a plaza like that that's half empty. Or they're tired of it getting graffiti 5 times a week. And you're down there 3 times a week painting the building because of the local building code, you know? Things of that nature. I mean, all kinds of things come into play. Coffee shops, donut shops, pastry, glass shops, smoke shops, you know, cash and carry kind of play, quick stores. Who knows what kind of things would go together in a cannabis plaza. But these are expansive things.
Movie theater.
Well, it makes it easier for these cannabis entrepreneurs to grow. Now you're not out there freestanding building trying to get people to buy what, cannabis papers and bongs and pipe. No, you're going to starve to death out there. You need to be beside the cannabis club.
Right, it's got to be other services. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we need to be. You know, it seems almost illogical not to pursue this. Okay. And, you know, I understand that a lot of things are motivated by money. And even though I'm not primarily motivated by money, I'm not akin to helping people make money. I think that's a great idea. You know, I spent most of my life doing that, and I still like doing that and like being involved. But what I'm saying is that there's room if it stops being so hardcore and we start cultivating the culture. It'll bring us more back. In other words, you know, it's not, you know, it needs more nurturing. It needs more attention. You know, it needs more care, you know, and help along the way. You know, clubs like this, you know, even if and when I solve the issue I have, you know, going forward, the next club, you know, conveying, you know, the skills to the next club of how they can survive as well. Okay.
Right.
Because it's one thing to have it pop up and you know get a million views or a million things, and then one day no one shows. What happens then? It just folds. Your idea just kind of drifts away. No, seek to stay. You need to be here for good and stay and be carried on and to be not stuff to be important. Okay. You know, it's like you take your vitamin every day. You take care of the clubs, you know, part of life, you know. It's like, a commitment, you know. Kind of odd words, I guess, in this day and age. Commitment, honor, duty, you know, loyalty, things like that. But that's what it takes, really. You know, obscure ideas, perhaps, and lofty goals and principles. But really, in essence, what makes up a club? Any building will work, really. Honest to goodness. And, you know, the way it works, they're very simple, and they're very kind and generous in the most part. They have some rough edges, and we've had them as well. But mostly they're very, people are very kind and generous, and most of the business are very supportive. But like a lot of part of cannabis and cannabis users, we either take it for granted or become complacent after a while. It's not as important as it used to be, or and see, that's not how these clubs will be able to work. And one of the things that even though I've solved a lot of the legal issues and a lot of those problems, and I'm very confident going forward, we still haven't solved the issue about, does the idea live with cannabis consumers? Will they actually believe in it? I mean, at some point in time, it has to be tested. And I think that time has come. Do you actually believe in what I'm doing? Give me a sign, give me the help I need, and I'll take it from there, and we'll grow. Anybody who knows me probably would think that I would, they'd probably have to sedate me with the tranquilizer gun to keep me from doing it,
Sure. No, it's true. Yeah.
I believe, so, it's there, but I've walked everything as far as I can by myself,
And you've done a lot. I mean, you've done a lot.
Well, I do believe this is a pandemic crisis. Members are, I saw to be supportive, overwhelming for what we do pre-pandemic. I think a lot of people have fear. I understand that. You just can't let the idea die, okay? We have on our website, there's a way to donate. Members, even $10, $20 here. We're really, it's almost embarrassing at my point in my life that such small amount of money is determining things. But I got to tell you, I'm a humble person. I've given everything that I have. There is nothing left to give. So it is only up to members now to sustain this. And like I said, even $10, $20 at a time is. By the way, on the 26th of this month, I have a party. My very first party. It's my party. Okay?
Oh, it's your party. I was going to say you've had plenty of parties.
Yeah, I've had lots of parties, not one for me. This one's my party.
Oh man, now I feel like I need to be there.
Yeah. I invite everyone to come and say hi to me. Bring me a dab, bring me a toke, whatever. Okay. Bring me $5, $10, wherever you can. It doesn't matter. That's how in the end, that's how this whole thing survived. Everyone believed in me.
So, one question and one thing I wanted to ask as you were, telling your story over the last little while. At one point, you said that you gave up or you swore off making big money, or something to that effect.
Yes.
What was the impetus for that?
Well, part of it was I just gone through a divorce. Okay.
Yeah.
In my life, I have overcome some obstacles. I was a young man and I first married, and my beautiful wife and I had a daughter. My wife was killed in an auto accident, and I became a single father. I became a single father for about 14 years. And then my daughter was murdered, and I lost her. And I found myself in the middle of life wanting to start a new family. And lo and behold, after a lot of years of crisis, I remarried, and with the intention of starting a new family. And instead, it didn't work out. Okay, and I ended up divorced, and it was time for me to change my life. And I decided that I would work in behalf of patients. Is something I could do. I had this harebrained idea about a farmer's market that I thought I could do, and it worked.
You did. That's right.
And, I took an oath of not of poverty. I don't want to. I don't want to be in poverty. I don't want anyone to think that.
Right.
I truly don't. I want to
Yeah.
earn a great living, and I want to provide for myself and the one lady that I love, who, by the way, told me she wouldn't marry me until I fixed all this stuff. Okay, so I'm on a mission to fix this so I can get married and move on with the personal side of my life that's been on hold. Okay, so after being divorced, and I found my soulmate with a friend that I'd known for a long time, and we're together now, and she's been with me on this whole journey. But in no uncertain terms, it's time for me to fix this and move on, or move on. You know,
Right.
so I believe it's time for me to fix this. Okay. So,
Yes.
but I made a conscious decision that I needed to redeem portions of my life, and that the way I would do is to become a humble servant to a cause and something that I could actually do. I could push a pencil. I could do lots of things. I'm mostly involved in sales in my life. I don't need to do that any longer. Now, my mission is to open the door for this and to preserve what we don't even know that's going to be missing from the future. Okay, which is going to be our choice. Okay. To sit by and do nothing means that we're surrendering our choice in the future. And I met too many people. I believe too much in the product. I believe in the cause to allow that to just happen without a fight. Okay. I can't. I can't just. It's got to be some sort of fight with it.
Salute. Of course. You know, um,
Giving up money, Ed, was actually relatively easy because after being married, a second time, that was all about money. That was so ugly that I didn't want. I gave up my $300 suits and my Gucci shoes, and I put on a pair of Canucks and a pair of loafers and t-shirts, and I became happy. Okay. And some people think I get stuffy sometimes. No, it's not really. Okay.
I've never seen it.
They didn't know me before. Okay. So,
Man, well,
so it's relatively easy actually to go on this path. And now that I have something that I love and I'm passionate about, it's even easier than ever, really. I don't require much, and neither does Marie. But we require a portion of life that belongs to us, and to be stable.
fair.
I'm not a child. I'm not young anymore. I can't. I have to be prepared for the future. And I have to take care of myself for the future as well. So,
Which is still a good long while.
yes.
First I wanted to say, I mean, thank you for sharing, those more personal parts of your life that clearly, were very difficult, and things that needed to be overcome. And I'm happy, I'm happy for you, of course, that, you're on the path that you're on and that you've been on for a while, and the work that you're doing. And I think, one of the things that I really wanted to highlight in doing this is for people to not only to hear about all of this, and to hear about the idea and the project that you're bringing forth here, and to understand in fullness what it really means, as an idea, what it means to the people involved, what it means to the industries that could use the help, and so on, and what it will mean ultimately for the communities, where these clubs, wind up coming to life. But what I really wanted people to see is to see and hear all of that coming specifically from you, because of the genuine nature of your message and of everything you're doing. And that came off to me right away. It didn't take me very long to know that you're the real deal. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't, and anyone in this industry, or any industry, especially in sales, you know a lot of the archetypes that are out there, and this is not one of them. This is one of the standouts. This is one of the superstars, and this is one of the OGs, now in this industry, because he's been through the battles, and he's been through the tribulations that come along with trying to, really make a difference. And I do believe that because of all that, you are going to get the response that you're looking for. I think that this, this call to action, this call to people to be a part of this movement, and to, take of that energy and take a piece of it and plant it in their, their cities and their town, wherever they live, and to water it and let it grow. I do really believe that's going to happen. And and you are the reason. It's, make no mistake about it.